This is number 6 versus number 10. And clearly, if you're Jamahal Hill, you're saying, I don't give a who is in front of me. If he has the name, the number 6 next to me, or next to his name, excuse me, I'm taking it, I'm leapfrogging, and I'm getting one step closer to the title. The real question that I have here, AJ, is that let's just say that Thiago Santos, let's just say that he's still a real deal fighter, because I do think that he is a real deal fighter. Let's say he still has real pop on his shot, because I do think that he does. There's still a chance for him to win. It's not like this is like, I feel like the narrative around this story is Jamahal Hill is going to go put Thiago Santos to pasture. He's going to finish him, and then that's it. But then it's like you have to really look at the flip side and say, well, Maheta, given that he can go 5 rounds with Magomed Ankalaev and not get finished, that's pretty damn impressive, right? I mean, because Magomed Ankalaev, even though he has a lot of decision wins, I mean, that's a killer right there. That's number 3 in the division now. So what's the path to victory for Maheta right here? I mean, he's got to be motivated. He's lost 4 of his last 5 fights. There's got to be a path to victory. What is it?
Man, it's a hard question too, because Jamahal Hill, I always want to say press forward, especially for Santos, a big dude with big power like Santos, control the center of the ring, engage, make it your fight. But Jamahal Hill has these amazing counter strikes that he can catch you with where you're moving, and it's literally, we saw it against Johnny Walker, where if things are going on in the chaos and you both end up clashing each other, Jamahal Hill usually gets the better of the altercations or exchanges. Thank you, Derek. And then you can't really. I mean, we saw what happened with Paul Craig in the grappling exchanges. So maybe you go grappling, but I don't know if Thiago Santos has that kind of chops right there. So I'm thinking the whole time, man, let Jamahal Hill kind of tire himself out, and then lay heavy on that experience. That old school experience, that 5-round experience that you have, kind of take the first, second round off. Maybe if you need to, obviously don't get put away. Don't actually take it off. But, lay on that one a little bit. Like let Jamahal Hill tire himself out and show him how deep the waters really are in that 5-round octagon with Maheta Santos. What do you think?
Well, I do think that Thiago Santos does have, he's playing the ego game. He's playing the mind game a little bit, because he did issue a challenge to Jamahal Hill. And he said, hey, my challenge to you is let's see who could stay standing on the feet longer. And I'm like, well, that's a good challenge, but also a bad challenge for you. But the problem is Jamahal Hill, as much as I do think he's the favorite in this fight, as much as I do think that he has all of the advantages on the feet in this fight, he has one tendency that some of our favorite fighters who we know and love have this tendency, and there's just no way of getting around it, where if you do pressure him, if Maheta somehow is able to revive the Maheta Blitz, that's the thing we've been waiting for forever, right? If he can revive it, Jamahal Hill kind of, when he gets pressured up and he has to go backwards in a linear line, he drops his hands and he leans back and he pulls the Dusko Todorovic, bro. And that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, okay. So, I get it, man. You're still very elusive. You're still throwing up that counter hook, all that. But if you get caught by one of those Santos bombs, man, nobody is protected from getting knocked out from one of those shots. Now, AJ, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but you do know I have my gripes, and I've had my gripes for this is going to be the 3rd fight in a row. You remember ever since Jamahal Hill got his arm dislocated by Paul Craig, I was like, well, that's his power hand. That's his left hand. Not good. How has he knocked out his last 2 opponents, AJ? Right hook. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, maybe let's try to take away the right hook and let's test out that left hand and see what it can do. Don't circle to your left, Santos. Circle to your right, and let's just test out what that power hand can do. But if it comes down to it, Santos is a orthodox fighter. Jamahal Hill is a southpaw fighter. Santos will swivel back and forth between stances. I do think that right hand could catch Santos and put him away. But I do think that is the path to victory for Santos. Blitz him. Don't respect him. And let's see what that left hand can do, because he's been knocking everyone out with the right hand. Does that sound adequate? Does this sound like a decent game plan? What do you think?
It sounds adequate. It sounds risky too at the same point, man. Standing and trading with Jamahal Hill. If the blitz does work, if the Maheta blitz does work, it works well. It just hasn't worked in the last 3 years. It's a little rough.
Ever since John Jones, bro, you kind of, he put a lot out there. I'll just say that. So with Thiago Santos, he opened up as a plus 240 underdog. The odds have now, changed it a little bit. Now he's plus 250 underdog, minus 310 favorite for Jamahal Hill. Is there any smart man in the world, are they throwing moneyline money down on Thiago Santos?
I mean, if you're looking to hedge a little bit of a bet, it's the money's there. What'd you say, plus 250 now?
Plus 250 right now, yeah.
I mean, Maheta, he's still a dog, so he can get it done. I don't know though, man. Plus 250 is a little stretch.
Well, let's talk about this, man. Jamahal Hill, he went 5 round distance, I think, in his 4th professional fight. Thiago Santos, he clearly has experience. A lot of people are saying Jamahal Hill hasn't really been tested like that. If you look at his last fight, I mean, like I said, there's a first, a couple early stoppages. He got that loss to Paul Craig. That was kind of early. Ovin St. Preux, I think that was 2nd round. And then that Klitz in Brew, there was overturned or... Yeah, I think that one was like an overturned over. He got popped for weed on that one, win, but that was still early too. So let's say this fight goes round 4, round 5, man. Do you think Santos can then start bringing some pain there? Or do you think that Jamahal Hill is going to be in control for all 5 of these rounds?
No, that's where I think Thiago Santos really starts to kind of find his groove, if you will. You know, like that late round 3, round 4, round 5, really in those championship rounds. Sure, Jamahal Hill has done it, but he hasn't done it as many times as Santos. That's the thing.
Let's talk about these props, AJ. Is it surprising too? Because this kind of surprised me. Because I was like, well, Thiago Santos, if you look at his methodology, and let's actually just take a look real fast. Let me see how many times the man has been knocked out in his career. He's been knocked out 3 times in his career, submitted 3 times in his career. The man has 32 fights overall, right? So you get finished 6 of 32 fights. That's not too terrible. Jamahal Hill's TKO prop is minus 150, bro. Minus 150. Like, it's almost like you might as well just take the money line because the TKO prop sucks. Like, who would want to take the TKO prop? Do you think that this is... I mean, do you think he could really get Santos out of there? When's the last time Santos has been, like, finished? Like, actual finish? Decision loss. He got submitted by Glover Teixeira, and then even to John Jones, he lost a decision. So it's not like this dude is just getting knocked around all day, man. Why do they think Jamahal Hill... I know he has power in his hands. I know he's precise. But why do we think... the odds makers, why do they think that he can just get Santos out of there? Because I kind of see that as a long shot. I can see this going as a decision more than anything.
Yeah, I can see this going to decision more than anything, man. Especially because Thiago Santos hasn't been knocked out since 2018 by David Branch. Been quite a while, man. He's fought some absolute killers after that too. But I think the reason why that TKO prop is so bad, or not bad, but just not lucrative for Jamahal Hill is because they're riding the hype train, man. They're riding the hype train that is Jamahal Hill. That the Sweet Dreams Express is real, and that people are about it. I mean, I don't think him getting his arm dislocated weighs a lot in many people's mind. Especially after coming back, like it did that first fight. They saw him knock a couple other people out, and they're like, "Oh, okay, it doesn't matter at all." I'm with you though, Derek. Circle to your right, man. Let's expose that left hand, see what it's working with. But yeah, stay away from that right hand bomb.
Well, my question to you, I mean, ultimately here is that if this does go to a decision, my thing is like if John Jones couldn't knock him out, right? If all of these amazing fighters, Magomed Ankalaev couldn't knock him out, I mean, Glover Teixeira finished him, but Alexander Rakic, like these are the top of the division. They can't knock him out. Jamahal Hill's supposed to just come in and starch him. I can see it in the realm of possibility. I don't think it would be a one-shot drop, though. I think if anything, it would be an accumulative type nature. But I mean, shit, it's just so tough for me to think about Thiago Santos getting knocked out. But it's a tough stage in his career. So I don't like the minus 150 TKO. Plus 300 for a decision. That's juicy right there. Now that's juicy. Now that's calling your name. That's saying, please give me the decision. Now, so many things can happen in 5 rounds, man. Who's to say? Does anybody want to see a light heavyweight bout go the distance the same way Santos last time he was a headliner went the distance? Everyone's like, this is fucking boring. Nobody wants to watch this. Big boys going to points. But is there anything lucrative on the Santos side, man? Plus 525 for the TKO, 650 for the decision, 1,400 for a submission. I mean, there's almost nothing. You might as well just take the money line if you're going to bet on Santos. What do you think?
Yeah, might as well take that money line at plus 240. I'm not really seeing a knockout or submission. I can see a decision coming from Santos if he's able to withhold that gas tank and, like I said, win late round 3, 4, and 5. Ooh, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a hard one, especially because I see sometimes I'm like thinking of like how Jamahal Hill or like how fighters are going to fight other fighters in general, and I see this fight for Jamahal Hill going like how he fought OSP. Now, don't get me wrong. I think he's going to have. I think Santos will have a little bit more output than OSP, and that's kind of where his downfall was. But if the output starts to dwindle, then I think Jamahal Hill really runs away with this one.
All right, brother. Well, check this out, because this makes my decision a lot more tough. The over and under on this fight is 2.5 rounds. 2.5. Minus 185 for the under, plus 155 for the over. So now it sketches me out a little bit because they really think they're going to put Santos out. I'm going to take the over. I don't care. I'm taking the over, and I'm going to go to a decision, man. I trust in Thiago Santos, the durability. He hasn't really been put on stilts too many times in his last 5 fights. There have been a couple times where he's been rocked, and you're like, oh, shit. But he's never gone down, dropped, shelled up, or anything like that. So I like Jamahal Hill via decision on this one. How do you see it?
Yeah, I'm with you. Jamahal Hill via decision. That plus 300 is calling your name right there, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, listen, if he does TKO him, then we know Jamahal Hill, you might as well line him up against Yuri next because he's on a tear that nobody is on a tear doing. So